My dear audience, this is Sat Sangat with Sat Sangat Astrology. I'm back with a new moon report this time, and this new moon is in Scorpio. Um, I'm recording this on the 23rd, right when the sun is ingressing in the sign, the tropical sign of Scorpio. So let me clarify that I do a Western tropical astrology, and I also use evolutionary astrology and some other orientations. So if you like my reports here, you may be interested to read my blog. My blog is Satsangat Astrology, blogspot.com, and I am also daily on Facebook, on Instagram, on Tumblr. So you feel free to read me, and I hope you enjoy it. So if I also offer readings, you can go to my blog in order to find more information about that. So let me now get started with the sun ingressing in Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of fall, right? And what does nature do during the fall season? It withdraws. So the sap of the trees go down to the center and through the roots, and it goes quiet, right? It's the time to rest and to save energy, and to go within. So for humans, this is a time to go within, and also to be more introspective, and also to look for things that are hidden in our subconscious. It's time to explore the the parts of our psyche that is not so obvious and so evident. For example, during the heat of the summer, when we are all outside and active doing things, we don't much care about what's going on within, right? So now it's a time to go within, to uh, be reflective, and look at ourselves in the mirror of our soul. And what happens is that usually the best way that we look at ourselves is in the mirror of another soul, in our relationships. So, and this is what's coming up with this new moon in Scorpio. The sun and the moon are together. They're both luminaries, and they are both shedding light on this subconscious or unconscious, in evaluating ourselves and discovering things that were not so evident before, right? And uh, it's also a time to, because it's a new moon, it's also a time to uh, sow a seed. It's not a time to exactly start something new, but it's the sowing of the seeds, the intentions, the plans, the thinking about it, right? So, but this new moon, what is interesting is that it's opposing directly and exactly by degree to Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus is this energy, this electrifying, shocking, electrifying energy that is kind of liberating. It's like, when there is a storm and there are the clouds uh, run into each other, and they make this thunder. And So Uranus is the light bulb that releases energy, right? And this is the function of Uranus in our chart. It helps us liberate energy, and especially it helps us see, the light bulb. What it does is it brings a sudden light, and you get it. It's like the eureka moment when you just realize it and understand something. So, and this could be, as I said, through a situation or an event or even a person, a relationship outside of us that may symbolize this light bulb that clarifies our understanding of ourselves. Um, so the ruler of this new moon, both the sun, the moon, is Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio. And this rulership of the new moon indicates that whatever the realization or the information that we now got it, so it relates to a certain situation that is profoundly transformative. And it could be a conclusive point, because there is an aspect that indicates conclusion of understanding. It indicates like we finally can put all the pieces of the puzzle in it, and in their own place, and we can see the big picture, the whole picture. So remember also that Uranus is impersonal. Whatever it brings, it's neutral, is impersonal, detached, and sudden, and totally unexpected. So for each individual, it all depends on your personal chart, of course. But what I mean by impersonal is that we cannot predict, in fact, what it actually may bring. And we cannot predict also if it is good or is bad. Usually, things could be both good and bad, depending on the angle our point of view, right? So another important point that I want to indicate is that this moon, this new moon, is squaring the solar eclipse at 4 degrees Capricorn, coming up a day after Christmas. It coincidentally, this eclipse will trine Uranus and square Chiron. So this is very significant because whatever happens during this new moon, it will be directly in tension, in conflict with what the solar eclipse will bring, because it's at a square aspect. So it will also foreshadow whatever is coming with the eclipse. So I suggest keep your eyes open, your ears open, and listen attentively, as whatever you hear and whatever you understand now may provide us with the information to prepare for any unexpected event. So we already see in the news a manifestation of this square from Mars and Saturn. I will speak about it next. But before that, I want to also indicate that this new moon is in tense aspect with Chiron in Aries. And if you have read in my blog, I have written extensively about Chiron in Aries, and also the monthly activations of it. So with this aspect, at the beginning, our discovery or revelation creates a conflict with our sense of inadequacy. It might hurt right where we are most vulnerable, and it may demand reconsideration of our wholeness. So the hot issue of discord is probably the rejection of people's cultural or religious or ethnic or gender identities, right? Because I was reading on the news, in fact, that in general, summarizing all the news, we can see a tendency of intolerance of people who are different, people who pertain or to this religion or this ethnic group or this color or that color. So there is this tendency for considering the other, like an enemy, right, in some cases, but also to consider that we cannot mix with them because they're different. And this is typically of Chiron in Aries, which brings up this feeling that we need to prove that no matter who we are and what happens, or what our deficiency is, we are good enough, we are complete, and we have the right to exist, right? And we have the same needs, same human needs as everybody else. So, but there is this tendency of antagonism, polarization between colors, between religions, between cultures and ethnicities, as if we don't drink all the same water or eat food or go to the bathroom. Everybody is equal, rich, poor, everybody. So in essence, right? There is also a great possibility that what we are learning about is related to intimate or business or global relationships. First, because the sign is Scorpio, right? Share bed, shared money, is the sign of shared resources and shared energy. And it's also the sign where we look for emotional security. So, second, because we look for emotional security in the union with another person, because otherwise we feel kind of abandoned or separated, right? So we look for this merging with another person in order to find this security. So second, because Mercury, which is our thinking, and Venus, our desires, our values, have already traveled hand in hand, this part of the sign, right, where the new moon is happening. And they were discussing their secrets, right? Our mind has been already reflecting about deeper things, looking for truths wherever we needed to dig out for them. And Venus was also exploring the values, right? Our personal values, society values. So now they are near the end of the sign, and they're approaching their conjunction. Mercury and Venus will be conjunct soon on October 30th. So by that time, they probably are coming to certain conclusions about their investigations and their explorations and their research of the truth, and they will have a very close conversation, right? Because they will be conjoined, and they will come up with the information they need, that we need about values, about maybe hidden deals, business deals, because Venus represents money and finances and business investments. So when they conjunct, I expect to hear news about some secrets with business deals that were not very clear, probably somewhat murky, come out in the news. So another very important factor in this chart is Mars in Libra is getting tired of negotiations. So remember, Mars is not a diplomat. He is a warrior. He's a fighter. In some cases, people are tired of negotiations to achieve fairness and justice, and have come out to the streets to protest. We see many focus of protests around the world. Let's say Hong Kong, um, Chile yesterday, this weekend, Argentina, Venezuela, anywhere where you look, there are in France, there are in several parts of the world, people are demanding improvement in their lives. Many people, the wages are so low, they can barely survive half of the month. So it's terrible, the things that people have been enduring without any possibility of improving the situation. So what happens is that in some cases, in some other cases, extremist factions are spreading terror with violent attacks related to matters that have been dragging on since the start of the Capricorn Cancer eclipse season. And you can refer to my article in the blog about this, about the Cancer Capricorn nodal axis, right, where the eclipses are happening. So, and in a third group of cases, the protest of people, normal people, regular daily people who are striving to survive, right? They may be used by, they may be an opportunity for terrorists to use the popular protests to advance their cause with violence. So there is a mixed bag of things, and I think violent people and some people going nuts are doing violent things, and they're spreading terror and controlling by fear. So the automatic response is that we see Mars 15 degrees Libra square Saturn 15 degrees Capricorn. So as you may know, Capricorn is governmental institutions. Saturn is also the military, and Mars protesting here at a 90-degree angle, it means military intervention, and it could be very strong, as we have seen in Chile, for example, and it can come to the streets to ensure security. So Mars square Saturn, and also Mars square in the nodal axis, is evidence that the stronger the protest and the louder the popular demands for fairness, the more repressive government gets. It is very unfortunate because in the next couple of weeks, not only things can get hotter but uglier as well. So I'm already saddened by this, everything that is happening now. We'll see. But as an astrologer, from now on and during the next year, the astrology doesn't show much harmonious and peaceful energy. So be aware and pay attention to what is going on. So Mars still squaring the nodes of the moon is fighting against the institutional oppression, restrictions, polarization, and separation in order to find safety, comfort, nourishment. I mean, the basic needs that people have. They need a shelter, they need food, they need work, and they need health care, right? So uh, people in most places are demanding for basic things and the freedom to be. Chiron in Aries, the freedom and the right to be, the right to exist. So um, and this is indicated by the North Node in Cancer. Um, as I stated before, it seems that extremist groups may use the frustration of regular people to spread violence and chaos as well, in order to gain power and control by fear. So it's a very complicated situation, right? There's people who rightly protest in order to improve their lives, and there's the other groups that are, as I said, they are doing things that are very little benefit for humanity, to say the least, if not very intentionally destroying life and destroying everything. So if I wonder if only the elitist leaderships of the world will just for a moment hear the people's cry for fairness. I mean, at least a wage that can be livable. Extremism could be avoided because every war has a root in economic reasons. It's not that people may fight for religion beliefs, or they may say that they fight for this and that idealism, but deep at the bottom of the reason is an economic reason, because people are demanding the right to exist. In the realm of personal relationships, relationship negotiations and the give and take balance are frustrated by the past restrictive conditionings that are no longer valid. So beliefs that are outdated may hinder our understanding in a relationship. So and also for example, the imbalance of yin and yang energy, or male and female energies, right? Both energies are important and they're powerful. The thing is that one doesn't need to be on top of the other. They need to be equal in the exchange, right? So there's a need to leave behind self-deprecating thinking and self-undoing behavior, because one person may think that, oh, I'm not good enough, or may say, oh, I don't have enough to put on the table, right? Um, uh, we need to now that we are reflecting in this Scorpio season, we need to take a look at those conditionings that we have in our unconscious or subconscious, uh, and take a look and analyze and discard what is no longer valid, what is no longer helping us grow. As the trees let their leaves fall because first of all, they don't need them anymore for the winter, and second of all, they are a heavy burden to bear during the time of winter when it's cold, and they need to save their energy for more important survival needs, right? That's what the plants and the nature does. It concentrates the energy inside in order to be able to survive the cold, the adverse conditions, climate conditions. So they let go whatever they don't need, and this is what we are supposed to do in the relationships. We need to let go of things that are outdated, the things that no longer serve us, in order to be able uh, to have this relationship survive. So in this case, with the influence of Uranus, the actions of another person or our own actions may trigger the change that can liberate us from the past karma and conditioning that holds us back. So it's better to let it go, because otherwise we'll be repeating, the patterns, and the patterns that in fact are hindering our improvement, our progress, and survival in a relationship, the survival of the relationship. So remember, when there is a tension or opposition, an elastic band stretches, but a stick breaks. So this talks about being flexible, and when you are rigid, you break. So Mars is also out of balance with Neptune. And Neptune is very spiritual, creative, inspirational, but it can also be delusional, right? So the actions taken may be impractical, based on some utopian idealism or on imagined threats or delusions that may end up in the loss of freedom and credibility. So we need to be careful, because impulsive, disproportionate reactions can be unproductive, inadequate, or ineffective, and they may result in one having to retreat the advances. So this kind of energy is better used for folk dancing and virtual dating or swimming instead of being aggressive or excessive or having excessive fantasies about the relationship. So, as I said, and to wrap up, the new moon is very introspective and transformative. The energy invites us to look within, to reflect, to take a look at the dark chambers of our soul, to integrate them, to heal them. So also consider that Mercury will be retrograde soon, in fact, October 31st, and will be turning back on his steps to take a deeper look at the present issues that we are living today. So whatever happens today is subject to revision. So it's not a good time to make important and life-changing decisions. If we do, we'll most probably miss the fine print. If you are scared, go watch a horror movie to let it out. If you are indecisive, go dancing. If you have too much energy or anxiety, have sex with your partner. Never let anger out to hurt others. One always regrets it. So make it a great day, And I wish you a very happy new moon, that you can use this energy to heal any relationship that needs healing, and to develop much compassion, peace, and well-being. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and I hope to hear your comments soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.